Welcome back to the Aquarius software training video series. In this video, we're going to look at how to append data into Aquarius time series. I now have my data sets set up and would like to load my logger data first. So all I need to do is click on the blue button here called the Append Logger File tool. I'll click on that and that will launch the interface to the Append Logger file. First step is to select the logger file. So I'm going to click on the ... here, the button here on the right, and select my first stage time series. It's going to be a 15-minute data set of stage, so I'll open that up. If I want to view or preview that logger file, on the left here there's a View Logger File button. I can click on that and it'll open up the notepad and just allow you to view your data here so you can see what it is. So what we have here is the timestamp and our data in meters and our data in feet. So I'll close that, and now I need to define the configuration or the config settings. So I don't have a config file already, I need to define that. So to do that, I'll have to click on Config Settings, and that will launch the Input from File wizard. The first step, step 1 of 4, is to select the type of file it is. This is a raw text file, so I can leave it as the default here, which is text file CSV. But you can drop down this list and look at the different formats that Aquarius supports. Let's just leave it as is and click Next to go to step 2. The next step is to define the number of headers and the delimiters. So as you can see here, we've got 2 headers here. So we're going to start the import at row number 3. So let's increase this up to number 3. And by default it shows that we've got 2 headers here, and so the preview looks like what we want. Now we need to tell what delimiter it is. By default it is comma separated, but this file looks like it's something else. So let's just click on space. That doesn't look right. Let's try tab. Okay, looks like that's a tab delimited file. So that looks good. Everything else is fine. Let's click next. And now we're on step 3 of 4. And now we have to define each column. So to start, we're on the column. The first column is going to be a date time column, so we'll leave that option here. And we need to specify the date format. We can either type in the format here, or we can select from a number of options that are listed here. So if we scroll down, I think the list that we want, or the format we want, is in here. I think it's you can always click on one that's close to it, select it, and if it doesn't, it looks like our data doesn't have seconds in here, so we can simply remove the seconds value from the mask here. Our time zone by default is taking the time zone of our server, but I know my data is in UTC, so I can just select that from the time zone list and click OK. We can either click the right arrow here to move to the next column, or we can actually just click on the column itself. You can do that as well. In this instance, I'm actually not going to load my meters data, so I'm going to skip this column, but I am going to load my stage data in feet. So click on that. I want to specify that it's raw data. We need to tell Aquarius what parameter that is. So let's click on the ... here, and we can type in the word stage here, and once again, the parameter is filtered based on the list and the name. So click OK. Our units, we want to specify feet, so I'll drop that list down and we'll select feet here. We can leave the label because the label will be adopted from the dataset label. And we can click next. And now we're on step 4 of 4, and this is where we can save the configuration file of our dataset. So it will save all the configuration settings that we just specified into a file so we can reuse that in the future. So let's click Finish, and now Aquarius is loading that data into the tool, and we'll move on to step 2. Now we can see that the data has been loaded here. We've got about 16,000, almost 17,000 points here. Just verify our units are correct. It also has the from and to time, so the dates. And now we have to select an action here. So we can drop down this list and it'll say append to a selected data set. So let's click on that, and now we can type in the word stage, and it will search the existing data sets that are here, and I can select the ones. In this instance, I want to select stage logger because this is my first data set. So now I can append this data set. Click Append, and now it'll load the data into the database, into that data set.